get the villain of the piece in here. He engraves himself, Jason Schwartzman! What the hell? Let's get Scott Pilgrim up here. I want you guys to get your questions together. We're going to have two people coming along with microphones. Take advantage of this time. We have those people that are bashful. This is not a group to be bashful with. So get your good questions ready. I'll start off by saying, how in the hell does a film like this get through the system and released by a major studio in 2010?
I don't know. I gotta give credit to like Universal for like letting me make a film. I mean, you know, and it doesn't often happen. That's like my kind of cut of the film, or a cut that I'm very happy with. It's going to be released on Friday, and you know, I've been working on it for 6 years ago. I was given the first book, and 5 years I've been working on the adaptation, and like kind of probably 2 full years of production. And you know, they've been great kind of throughout. Like I don't feel that they really kind of compromised it at all. You know, certainly kind of. What's funny is it was a film that was like pitched to me, or rather they already acquired the rights to the book, and it was given to me as something that they thought I would, you know, was perfect material for me. So that's kind of strange. But then there are points within that 5 years where I ended up pitching it back to them. I was thinking, oh, how did this happen? I thought you guys wanted me to do it. So like it's definitely. So I'm very pleased that like I mean, you know, given that like. Certainly this year people seem to be complaining a lot about, you know, kind of summer movies and studio movies in general being particularly kind of bland and stuff, so it was nice to make something that was fucking bananas.
And lastly, you two gentlemen, the Comic-Con experience was quite interesting. And I know that you guys have had moments where you've experienced that kind of thing, but can you sum up what it was like to be over the course of that weekend with those crowds and that vibe, and just what Scott Pilgrim became to that entire crowd that weekend?
It was very emotional. I said to Jason before the film started, I said, if you hear me crying during the movie, just wake me up.
He did. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was, you know, it was a nerve-wracking experience because, you know, obviously we want everyone in the world, you know, to see it and to hopefully like it. But the people who were there, who were, you know, a concentrated group of individuals who had, like, been with the book since they came out and then been following their progression into becoming a film, and they knew all the characters and they were expecting certain things. So it was a very, very scary feeling as the lights dimmed down, you know, because we want them to be happy, we want their blessing. And it was a nice feeling because, you know, in a lot of ways we hope that everyone likes it, but to know that they were into it and approved of it, that's something that I feel like can never be destroyed. That it was a wonderful night.
It was also amazing that people came in costume, you know, based on characters from the book, but then there were some people who were dressed up as characters that they'd seen in the trailer. Because a couple of the costumes are in the trailer, you know, in the film, but not in the book. So there was one guy dressed up as Chris Evans as Lucas Lee, rather than from the books. And there was 3 people dressed up as Jason from the end of the film in the white suit and red shirt, which they only gleaned from like production stills in the trailer. So that was pretty crazy. I'd never seen that before.
Yeah, I've never been able to say anything at the right time.
Good time to say that.
Jason, you've done a Q&A. I did a Q&A here 3 years ago for Hot Fuzz. I'm having flashbacks. me is slightly addled by the hash brownies that an audience member gave me. Which is the second, it's my third trip to Atlanta. The first two times I was given kind of what we now became infamous as the Atlanta space cakes. I'm not sure I can go through three tonight, but it was, I appreciate it.
Willing to try.
I guess I'll start out with a geeky question. I assume that you guys like video games from seeing the movie and have some influences. So I'm just trying to figure out what's your favorite video game from like your childhood. It doesn't even have to be childhood, but in general.
Well, Nintendo, I had a Nintendo, and
You guys know Nintendo.
you guys. For me, what were my favorite? Well, I loved Mega Man. Always can relate to him, I guess. I played that game, it was as if I was in a video game. It was me as a Mega Man. And I always, there was a game that I really loved, but I don't know if anyone ever played it. It was called Breakthrough, where you're like in a truck and you're just blowing things up and trying to get to an army base. And I love that game. I love the hell out of it.
You started playing that when you started going to therapy, right?
Yeah.
So you could relate to it at the time.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. It's a breakthrough. Tony Robbins.
I liked Super Mario a lot. I can relate to that because I'm half Italian.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Give it up for Mario. And Michael.
Michael's dad's name is Luigi.
That's true. He has no middle name. Luigi Cera. That's it. And also Contra.
I grew up in the UK where we had like this, like the British home computers. So some of the titles that I'm going to say like when I was a kid won't mean nothing to anybody. Like so, you know, like I had the ZX Spectrum. So there was a particular. If anybody claps for this one, I'll be really impressed. And don't clap just to make me feel better.
He'll know. He knows the difference.
There was a game called Night Law that was on the ZX Spectrum, which is this 3D kind of like game by Ultimate. I used to play that a lot. But then there were, I think sort of like, something like Rampage I used to really like.
Yeah.
You know, with King Kong and Godzilla smashing up buildings. That was good. I like that.
Off to the left. So, I really... Sorry.
Sneak right into it.
Just shout, don't worry.
So, I just want to say I really like your Arrested Development.
Thank you.
I've actually... all 3 seasons like the past week. But anyways, I wanted to know how you guys picked the video games you wanted to reference throughout the movie. Because I noticed there were lots of like old school references and newer references.
A lot of those were in the books. You know, Brian Lee O'Malley is definitely kind of a child of the Super Nintendo, and so a lot of those were in the books, and certainly kind of Sega and Nintendo were really kind of helpful in letting us clear a bunch of sounds. So, and in a way, like you know, like the sounds are almost like I feel like just the soundtrack in his head. I mean, young Neil is playing like Nintendo DS for the entire thing, and Johnny Simmons, the actor, would be playing Legend of Zelda the entire time, and would sometimes get lost in the middle of a take because he was in the middle of the game. So he was playing that and Mario like sort of throughout, and then you know throughout we kind of have things like the Sonic the Hedgehog, ba-ding, and kind of noise like that. And they're kind of like, and also as you probably noticed, like a lot of Mac and PC sounds, some of which are like, you know, 15 years old. I just sort of thought that these are kind of like the sounds that we've kind of like, the soundtrack of our lives in a way, and like the sounds are so familiar that, you know, like when you walk around now like, and you hear kind of like iPhone sounds and BlackBerry sounds, or just when people are on laptops, the sounds are so familiar, they just kind of like become part of, it's like kind of crickets in the jungle, do you know what I mean? It's like sort of, the sounds are so familiar to us. So I thought that would be, Scott Pilgrim is like a character who's like a big daydreamer. I figured that like if he did something wrong, he would hear the Mac error sound in his head.